At this stage, it's fairly well documented that the Junglebird is my favourite cocktail, and this drink, the White Junglebird, would be my entry into the I tried to create a modern classic cocktail awards, if they even existed, and if in fact I'm actually the first person to think of this drink. So I'll explain what I mean by this later, but think tiki, think aperitif, think Junglebird crossed with white Negroni, crossed with pina colada. This drink is a very good time, and if I did create it, I'm very proud of it. So today, I'm going to show you how to make the White Junglebird. Okay, welcome back to the channel, everybody. As I said before, I do believe I created the White Junglebird, but since this is a very logical next step to the classic Junglebird, I'm so sure that people out there have created very similar drinks to this, almost made this interpretation of the Junglebird in their own way. But hopefully, since we're making some substitutions with ingredients, adding some seasonings, adding some really nice texture in there, and also some really delicious complementary flavors, that this is going to be a slightly different take on what other people have created. I'm really proud of it. I think it's a really delicious riff on the Junglebird. And in this video, I'm going to show you my ultimate White Junglebird recipe, followed by a clarified black and white coffee Junglebird, which is totally different but very beautiful. And then finally, a fluffy version, which is a lower ABV and super refreshing take on the White Junglebird. So I first showed the White Junglebird a couple of years back in my Essential Cocktails course, which was a completely free 50 video cocktail course, ideal for beginners, but also professionals, just designed to share as much as I possibly could about 40 cocktails and also lots of fundamental skills. So I'll link that at the end of the video. I really hope you guys find value in it. And scouring the internet since, I still can't find any other references to this drink, particularly in this very format. So if I did create it, happy days. If not, it doesn't matter. The main thing is it's a very tasty drink. So I've kind of stitched myself up here. I scripted this line, which is very hard to say, and I've said it many times. The White Junglebird is to the classic Junglebird what the White Negroni is to the Negroni. I'm not sure that makes sense, but hopefully you know what I mean by that. Essentially what we're doing is taking some of the ingredients, subbing them out for different color and flavor characteristics, and creating a drink which maintains the DNA of the Junglebird, but is very much a drink in itself. So if we go back to the Negroni and White Negroni comparisons, a classic Negroni contains gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari. And then the White Negroni is very much a Negroni, but also very much a drink in itself. So it maintains the gin base, often pumping it up slightly to slightly increase the amount of gin in the drink compared to the other two ingredients. Subbing out the sweet vermouth, introducing Lillet Blanc traditionally, which is an aromatized wine, but a lot of people use different dry vermouths here to get slightly different results. And then subbing out the Campari for often Sousa, which is a gentian-based bitter aperitif style liqueur. So I've taken this principle, applied it to the White Junglebird. As I said before, other people have probably done this, but I just can't find much information about it. And we're gonna make those substitutions, bring in some really interesting flavors and textures and seasonings. But this is very much a Junglebird in its identity, whilst also being a very distinctive and unique drink in and of itself. I think this drink very much deserves its place on lots of different cocktail menus, in lots of cocktail books. I'd love to see it in the Difford's Guide, which is not in currently. So if anyone wants to help with getting it put in there, by all means do so. And what we're gonna need are a few different ingredients, all very easy to get hold of. And you can actually riff and adapt this recipe to fit your own flavor preferences. We're actually gonna use the exact same base recipe as I did for my ultimate Junglebird in the last video, making those substitutions, which I'll talk about as we work our way through the drink. So first of all, our base spirit. In this case, it's gonna be white rum, whereas in a classic Junglebird, it's a much darker rum with more kind of molasses flavor coming through, and we're going 45 mils. This is obviously gonna be a very different flavor profile to a much darker rum, whilst maintaining the DNA at the core of the drink. So before we used Campari, and if we're gonna go back to our White Negroni analogy, we'd be switching out Campari and switching in Sousa, which is fantastic. But I do find Sousa can be a little bit overpowering, and I prefer to use Luxardo Bitter, which I find a little bit lighter, a little bit less dominant in the drink. But if you have Sousa and you love Sousa, go for your life. I just find this a little bit less intense and just lets the other ingredients shine through. Going in with 15 mils of that. I'm gonna go 15 mils again of freshly squeezed lime juice, which is gonna be the acidity in the drink, bring that really nice vibrancy. And then this is where I think things get really interesting. As our sweetener, rather than adding a straight cane sugar syrup, I'm actually adding 10 mils of MONIN coconut syrup. And the reason for this is I bloody love a pina colada. This drink contains pineapple, it contains rum, It's got that really nice creamy, foamy texture. Obviously a pina colada doesn't have any bitterness in there, which is what we get from the Luxardo bitter or our Sousa. So I just think that really nice combination of booze, acidity, sweetness, bitterness, and that kind of tropical fruit flavor of pineapple and rum and coconut. All of this ties together really nicely. And by using the MONIN coconut syrup, you get loads of that really nice coconut flavor coming through without adding something like coconut cream, which is gonna have a big impact on the texture. So I'm going with coconut here, which I think works really nicely. But you could add all manner of different flavors here using different MONIN syrups. Things like passion fruit would work really nicely to bring that sharp tropical fruit note. Orgeat would be a really good option to bring that classic nuttiness you find in a lot of tiki drinks. Or you could even go with something like a white chocolate syrup from MONIN, given a complementary flavor which isn't already in the drink, but it'd work really nicely with the other ingredients. I'll put the MONIN website in the description below, so you can check out all the different flavors within the range. There are many which you can experiment with. You can substitute them all in one for one because they all have a very similar level of sweetness, which is really nice. Experiment, have some fun, and a big thank you to MONIN for sponsoring this video. Next up, I'm gonna go for my classic ingredient, which I use in so many different drinks, which serves as a seasoning to bring all those big flavors together, which is gonna be 1 gram of a 1 to 5 saline solution. You won't actually taste this as a salty note, but just like when you're seasoning food, you wanna add just enough salt to bring out all the amazing flavors in the dish. That's what we're doing here. We've got some fantastic flavors and ingredients going on here. So the salt just elevates them, doesn't make the drink taste like salt, and it actually suppresses a little bit of the perceived bitterness of the drink, making the whole thing really come together really nicely. We're gonna go 45 mils of pineapple juice, which is one of the core flavors of the drink, and also brings a really nice texture when you shake it up. And then just to boost that up a little bit more, I'm going 10 mils of BUTTERBEAN AQUA FABA, which I've talked about in the past, and I'll link a video all about just above. I believe this is the best foamer out there. Much better than egg whites, much better than AQUA FABA, much better than anything I've found so far. It's really neutral, really easy to get hold of, and very cheap. So I do recommend this, but whatever foam you have will work really nicely. This one is fantastic though. And now we can give this a really good shake up over lots of ice. Garnish with a cherry, or a slice of pineapple, or a big sprig of mint, or some lime, or whatever you want, coconut, whatever you fancy. And there you have a delicious drink, which I'm really excited about, called the White Junglebird. So I'm gonna get straight into this while it's nice and fresh. Cheers, everybody. This has so many things that I love about cocktails going on in there. It actually starts off a little bit in that pina colada range of the world, but then you get the bitterness coming through from the Luxardo bitter. Works really nicely. The rum is subtle but definitely there. The balance of acidity and sweetness is really nice. And then you've got that pineapple really complemented by the coconut from the MONIN syrup and that amazing creamy texture, despite obviously not having any dairy in there. This, I think, is a really exciting drink. And as I said before, if I did create this, I'm really proud of it. I think I probably didn't. I think other people have done very similar things. But regardless, give this one a try. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Whether you're a Junglebird lover, a Negroni lover, a pina colada lover, a kind of sweet and sour, almost daiquiri lover, there's a lot here for a lot of people. So I really hope you give it a go. A couple of variations of this, which I've been really excited about recently. First of all, the black and white coffee Junglebird. And essentially this is a clarified drink with a really nice cold brew coffee layer on top. I just used the same base recipe, multiplying it by 4, and I actually switched the base spirit for tequila here. But you could use things like cachaça, you could use mezcal, pretty much any white spirits would work really nicely. I actually used the passion fruit syrup here from MONIN, which really complemented the tequila flavor, and then the same saline solution and pineapple juice. But rather than using the BUTTERBEAN AQUA FABA, I actually curdled this with coconut milk and then passed it through a paper filter a couple of times until it was really nicely clarified. I just laid a really strong cold brew coffee on top of this, and the divide between the two layers and flavors was really delicious. Very complementary, tequila, bitterness, passion fruit and coffee, all working really nicely, with a really nice boozy cherry garnish this time. We also have the fluffy white Junglebird, inspired by Dante's fluffy Garibaldi. All I did here was go back to the original recipe, reducing the rum to 1/3, so just 15 ml, doubling up the pineapple juice, and actually using fresh pineapple juice this time. blend in the whole thing together. You don't need the Butterbean AQUA this time. And it just comes out really light, really airy, and really refreshing with that slightly lower ABV. So I really hope you give the White Junglebird a go. Once again, a big thank you to MONIN for sponsoring this video, giving us that really nice coconutty flavour, which really carries through into the drink. I love this drink. If you enjoy this kind of thing, coffee, cocktails, creative drinks, and lots of fun, make sure you subscribe to the channel, which you can do by clicking just here, and I'll put the Essential Cocktails course for you to watch here, 50 videos completely free, and then just here, my ultimate Junglebird recipe, if this thing is your kind of thing. So thanks for watching, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.